All right. Hotep, everybody. Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, writer, and historian. It is Saturday, August 13th, 2022, and we are live. I'm teaching another session of my online history class today around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. This is normally a 10-week online history class that I teach. I talked about it some on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, August 12th. We're teaching another session today. This time around, it's going to be 12 weeks when we teach it. And you can register for this online class. We have the information here in the thread of the broadcast. You can join us at our online school. I'll be teaching the class around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. And I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips. Here's I want to do a brief preview today of some of the information we cover in this class. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. So we can't start studying our history in slavery, even when we study the transatlantic slave trade, which is important to study. We can't start in 1619 with those 29 Africans in Virginia. We can't start in the 1440s with the Portuguese getting involved in the transatlantic slave trade with Anton Gonzalez in 1441 going into present day Mauritania. We have to deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. And we have to also deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, who take the teachings from ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, into Europe. And these teachings are going to bring Europe out of the Dark Ages. Okay, so one of the things we deal with in class, and we'll talk about some in today's class, when those Africans known as the Moors go into the Iberian Peninsula, today known as Spain and Portugal, in 711 AD, and they're going to various extents Africanize Europe. And this is going to, we see the Moors lose control in Europe, especially in Spain. And their last known stronghold was relinquished in January 2nd, 1492. And then we're going to see the relationship between the transatlantic slave trade and the Moors losing control in Europe as well. So this course not only deals with the transatlantic slave trade, but it also deals with thousands of years of history that leads up to the transatlantic slave trade of African people taking place. August 20th, 2019 marked the 400th year anniversary of those 29 Africans who came into Point Comfort in Virginia, August 20th, 1619, on the White Lion pirate ship, in what will later be called the colony of Virginia. Okay, so it's important to also understand that African people have been in the land we call the United States of America going back at least 51,700 years. So even though we talk about 1619, and then also in the class, we also deal with 1526, because 1526, you have the Spanish taking Africans into the territory that we call South Carolina and Georgia. Okay, that's in 1526. This is 93 years before. Virginia and those 29 Africans in Virginia. So one of the problems with the way this history is taught is that a lot of times our history is taught starting with African people conquered and shackled and chained by Europeans, and that's problematic, and that's also traumatizing to African-American children, and those African-American children grow up to be adults. So if your understanding of the beginning of African people in this country starts with us conquered by Europeans, shackled in chains, okay, you're going to probably deal with some self-esteem issues. You're probably going to have a distorted view of history, okay, because this was our land stolen from us. African people were in this land that we call the United States of America going back at least 51,700 years. Okay, so I'm just doing a brief overview of this class, and we're just looking at some of the things that we cover in this course. I'm teaching another session of this class today 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at our online school. We have the information here in the thread of the broadcast. You can register for the class. It's on sale, $60. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived. They're recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime or visit our new website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. All right, so this is Dr. David Imhotep, who wrote the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. And his book has 713 footnotes, and it deals with thousands of years of history. And page 14 of his book, it deals with a discovery made in 2004 in Allendale County, South Carolina, by Dr. Albert Goodyear. And he discovered 13 different types of evidence that thoroughly document an African presence in this country going back at least 51,700 years ago. These were the Khoisan, who have the oldest DNA on the planet. They come from Southern Africa. They're the ancestors to the Ainu and the Twa. So they found artifacts, architecture, campsites, carvings, footprints in lava, genetic M174D haploid groups dealing with DNA and genetics. They found Egyptian carvings, Egyptian writings, footprints in lava, linguistics, paintings, skulls, skeletons, structures, and tools. 13 different types of evidence thoroughly documenting an African presence in this country going back at least 51,700 years ago. This is an article from ScienceDaily.com dealing with Dr. Albert Goodyear and the discovery that he made. This article is from November 18, 2004. New evidence puts man in North America 50,000 years ago. New evidence puts man in North America 50,000 years ago. Here's a summary of the article from ScienceDaily.com. This is ScienceDaily.com summary. Radiocarbon tests of carbonized plant remains where artifacts were unearthed last May along the Savannah River in Allendale County by University of South Carolina archaeologist Dr. Albert Goodyear indicate that the sediments containing these artifacts are at least 50,000 years old. Indicate that the sediments containing these artifacts are at least 50,000 years old, meaning that humans inhabited North America long before the last ice age. Okay, so they're talking about these humans that they're talking about are the Khoisan, who have the oldest DNA on the planet. They go all around the world, and they were here in the land that we call the United States of America as well. Now, this is before the transatlantic slave trade happens. Yet, I'm not saying the transatlantic slave trade did not happen. What I'm saying is we have to understand thousands of years of history before the transatlantic slave trade happened. And unfortunately, a lot of times in classes that we take in college, a lot of times in these conversations that we have, even during African American History Month, oftentimes we start the history of African people in this country conquered and shackled and changed by Europeans, and that's psychologically damaging, okay, to our people. So this piece right here on the Khoisan cites the information from Science Magazine. An October 2012 genetic study published in Science Magazine found that the Khoisan in Southern Africa are the oldest ethnic group of modern humans, with their ancestral line originating about 100,000 years ago. The Khoisan, formerly called by the derogatory term Bushmen, are genetically unique, and no other currently known population had separated so early from our common modern human ancestor, according to the report. Now, here is a picture of two Khoisan women, okay? These are the short-statured Africans, the Khoisan, who are the ancestors to the Ainu and the Twa. The Khoisan live mainly in southern Africa, in territories spanning Botswana, Namibia, Angola, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. They are largely divided into two groups, hunters and gatherers, known as the Sans people, and keepers of livestock, known as the Khoi people. The Khoisan languages include the distinctive click sounds that are not found in languages of their neighbors. Okay, there's a good article that from AtlantaBlackStar.com, 5 ethnic groups that prove the first humans were Black. Okay, so and when we talk about the click language is the oldest language. And we know that when you look at the film Black Panther, the language spoken in the film Black Panther is isiXhosa, which is a Bantu language spoken in Southern Africa. And isiXhosa has the click sounds in it also, okay? So as we talk about the film Black Panther, I did the 3 months of research to be able to do my lectures on that film. And the film Black Panther relates to African history, African culture, African language, spiritual systems, etc. We look at a number of different archaeological studies and discoveries in this course also, okay, to deal with thousands of years of history leading up to the transatlantic slave trade. Then we go through and we analyze the transatlantic slave trade. This was a significant discovery here in 2010. There was an article from the New York Times that dealt with this, called "On Crete, New Evidence of Very Ancient Mariners." On Crete, New Evidence of Very Ancient Mariners. And it deals with this discovery made on the Greek island of Crete. And they did excavations over the course of 2 summers, okay? And they found stone tools dating back at least 130,000 years old, 130,000 years ago, okay? Stone tools found on the Greek island of Crete, archaeologists say, are at least 130,000 years old, which is considered strong evidence for the earliest known seafaring in the Mediterranean, and calls for rethinking the maritime capabilities of pre-human cultures. Okay, so one of the things that one of the themes of the class, one of the things you're going to find out when we look at these archaeological discoveries is that they keep pushing the timelines back. When these new discoveries come out, this is causing the archaeologists, the paleontologists, the researchers, etc., to rethink this history and push the timelines back, and they're realizing that all of this stuff is much older than they thought. Okay, so the deeper they dig, the blacker the planet gets. The more research they do, the older we get. So they found stone tools that they say are at least 130,000 years old, which is considered strong evidence of the earliest known seafaring in the Mediterranean, and calls for rethinking the maritime capabilities of pre-human cultures. Now, Crete has been an island for more than 5 million years. Crete has been an island for more than 5 million years, meaning that the tool makers must have arrived by boat. So this seems to push the history of Mediterranean voyaging back more than 100,000 years. Specialists in Stone Age archaeology say previous artifact discoveries thought that seafaring in the Mediterranean, islands like Cyprus and a few other Greek islands, possibly Sardinia, were no earlier than 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. Okay. But this discovery here seems to push the history of Mediterranean voyaging back more than 100,000 years. So once again, the deeper they dig, the blacker the planet gets, the more research they do, the older we get. Okay, so check out that article. We talk about the lost city of Egypt, Tanis Heraklion, that sunk into the bottom of the sea. And it was a discovery in 2013 of what this expedition team found, led by archaeologist Frank Gardillo. So the name of this city was called Tanis Heraklion, and this was called the lost city of Egypt. And they found the UK publication, The Telegraph, has some good information on this, and there's some other news outlets that reported on this. Actually, all the news outlets had information on this. But the Telegraph reports that 150 feet beneath the surface of Egypt's Bay of Abu Qir, they found 64 ships, 16-foot tall statues, 700 anchors, countless gold coins, and similar artifacts. Now, archaeologist Frank Gardillo, who led this excavation, he estimates that Tanis Heraklion was built around 8th century BC. Okay, built around 8th century BC or BCE. Now, these are some of the artifacts and statues, things like that, they found at the bottom of the sea. Okay, this is straight out of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. All right, so then you had another lost city of Egypt, um, that was discovered in 2021. This news came out April 2021 inside the Lost City of Egypt. NBC News, the Today Show had a big story on this, and this city was called Dazzling Aten, named after Akhenaten, Dazzling Aten, and this is a 3,000-year-old lost city as well. So these this city dates back to about 3,400 years ago. Okay, and these archaeological discoveries are coming out every other week. Okay, these archaeological discoveries are coming out every other week, and when they come out, they're causing the scientists, etc., to rethink everything. Okay, and as I've said before, you know, the deeper they dig, the blacker the planet gets. The more research they do, the older we get. So it's important to understand this chronology of history that leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We know that this land was called also Egypt of the West, especially by the founding fathers. And when you look at Freemasonry, we know that Freemasonry deals with the teachings that the Moors took, the African Moors were the custodians of, and these teachings came from the Nile Valley region of Africa. And the Moors take this information into Europe and teach this to Europeans, okay? And it's going to be this information that brings Europe out of the Dark Ages. And we see symbols of Africa all around us. One of those prominent symbols of Africa coming from the mythology of the story of Asar, Aset, and Heru is the Washington Monument, or what is in ancient times was called a Tekhenw, which is a symbol of resurrection coming from ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. Okay, the Washington Monument is a Tekhenw, and we know that many of the founding fathers of this country were Freemasons, and Freemasonry is the foundation of Freemasonry is the teachings coming out of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, what are called the mystery systems or the mystery school. So there was a good article from face-to-faceafrica.com that deals with Cleopatra's Needle, how 3 ancient Egyptian obelisks, what the Greeks call obelisks, ended up in New York City, London, and Paris, France. Okay. And these are, now there were about 1,200 Tekhenw in ancient times. Today they're less than 12. And some of them have been taken to Istanbul, Turkey, and taken to London, France, and taken to Italy, etc. Some are recreations. These 3 right here on the left, you see the Tekhenw in London, the Tekhenw in London. The center is the Tekhenw in New York City, and on the right, the Tekhenw in Paris, France. Ancient Egyptians, or the ancient Kemetic people, called obelisks Tekhenw. You'll see different spellings for Tekhenw for plural. You'll see different spellings of it. And they were also used to tell the time in the past. Their pinnacles were basically covered in gold to reflect the sunlight. Historians say the obelisks represented immortality and eternity, and their long structure helped connect the heavens and the earth. Their long structure helped connect the heavens and the earth. Currently, Cleopatra's Needle is the name given to the 3 ancient Egyptian obelisks, one in New York City, one in London, and one in Paris, France. However, they do not all come from one Egyptian site. Okay. They do not all come from one Egyptian site. The obelisks in New York and London are carved out of red granite from the quarries of Aswan, a major source of stone for Egyptian antiquities. The 2 obelisks were commissioned by Pharaoh Thutmose III, or Nesubiti Thutmose III, for the Temple of the Sun in Heliopolis near modern-day Cairo, with each weighing about 224 tons and 64 feet tall. So check out this article from face-to-faceafrica.com from May 17th, 2022. That gives more insight into that. So this is a famous statue of the Asar, Aset, and Heru, who the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and Horus. And we know when we read Egypt on the Potomac by Tony Browder, who's a brilliant archaeologist and a friend of mine, I've interviewed him a number of times. There were approximately 1,200 Tekhenw built in Kemet in ancient times, but only about a dozen are found in Egypt today. Many of the Tekhenw removed from Egypt are now in Istanbul, Turkey, London, England, Paris, France, Berlin, Germany, New York, Rome, Italy, the Vatican City, and elsewhere throughout the world. The Tekhenw are now called obelisks by their new owners, and few know their origin or that they symbolize the resurrection of the African king Asar. Okay, so read Egypt on the Potomac by page 17. So these are just some of the few things, because there's over 200 slides in the class. Just a few of the things that we deal with in this 10-week. This time around, it's going to be 12 weeks online history class that I teach: Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa. Understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. You know, the Panther deity that we see in the film Black Panther, Bast, comes from Bastet, which comes out of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. And this was a goddess deity, a Netcher, in the form of a lioness and later a cat, who was a Netcher of warfare in Lower Kemet. The film Black Panther relates to African history, culture, language, spiritual systems. In the Black Panther comic book, we know that the deities are referred to as the Orisha, which is the Yoruba term for the deities in the spiritual system of Ifa, practiced amongst the Yoruba in Nigeria. And the Orisha's origin dates back to the ancient Egyptian beings known as the Ennead. And you'll see names like for some of these deities in Wakanda: Koku, Thoth, Bast, Mujaji, Ptah, and Niyami. Okay, some of those come straight out of ancient Kemet as well. The Ennead referred to means group of 9 in Greek, and in ancient Kemet they were called Pesjet. The Ennead referred to the 9 Neteru, Atom, which means sun, Shu, air, Tefnut, moisture, Geb was referred to the earth, Nut, sky, Asar, Aset, Seth, and Nephitis. Okay, so these were this comes straight out of ancient Kemet as well, but we see this represented in the Black Panther comic book also. We know that isiXhosa, which is the language spoken in the film Black Panther, is a Bantu language as well. Bantu is a group of some 500 African languages belonging to the Bantoid subgroup of the Banu Congo branch of the Niger-Congo language family. The Bantu languages are spoken in a very large area, including most of Africa from southern Cameroon, eastward to Kenya, southward to the southernmost tip of the continent, including South Africa. Okay, and we know that Amazulu or Zulu is a Bantu language, as well as Kiswahili. So Kwanzaa is a Kiswahili word. That's a Bantu language, also Kiswahili as well. So, and we also in this class, of course, you know, we deal with some African civilizations as well, like Carthage and Axum. Things like this. We talk about Hannibal Barca and the Punic Wars and Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus and why Africa is not named after Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus. We talk about the Kingdom of Great Zimbabwe as well. And then we deal with some of the history of the Moors also, and the Moors conquering the Vandals and the Visigoths, and Tarik Ibn Ziyad going into leading an army into the Iberian Peninsula, today known as Spain and Portugal, in 711 AD, and conquering, and they conquered the Vandals and the Visigoths. They're going to settle in the southern portion of what becomes known as France, and they're going to Africanize to various extents Europe. They're going to create libraries. They are voluminous writers. Some of the early universities in Europe are created to study the Moor science texts, to study the teachings that the Moors take into Europe, like the University of Salamanca in Spain, and Toledo, and Naples, different universities that they have there. They're going to be created to study the Moor science texts. So we talk about the 3 great West African kingdoms also of Ghana, Songhai, and Mali. And we look at this history chronologically also. Okay, so there's a timeline of history that we look at. So this is just a brief overview of this class. We talk about people like Mansa Musa and show the relationship between Mansa Musa as well as T'Challa in Black Panther, because T'Challa was probably the richest person in the Marvel comic universe. Mansa Musa becomes emperor of the Mali Empire, 1312 AD, when Abubakar II goes missing on the expedition. And then we have to look at Christopher Columbus, Cristobal Colon, and where Columbus went on his 4 voyages, what he was looking for, the deal that he made with King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. And it's important to understand that Columbus never came to the land that we call the United States of America. Columbus never came to the land we call the United States of America. The closest he came here was Cuba, which is 90 miles away. This is just a brief overview of the class. I've got to get out of here and teach this class now because it starts, we're going to start about 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, August 13th. So you join us at our online school. The class is on sale, $60, regular $130. The best value is the bundle pack. You get both classes, my Saturday class as well as the Sunday class. You get both classes for $100. So if you visit our website, our new website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Scroll down the page, you'll see the picture of me and information about my radio show. We have our Cash App information and PayPal. If you want to pay for the class through Cash App, you can send the money through Cash App also. Here's our Cash App tag, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App. Click here to register for both classes. Has registered here. You could pay debit card or credit card, follow the prompts. It gives you the option to use PayPal. And then below that, it gives you the option for debit card, credit card. You don't have to have a PayPal account. So this class here, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. That's regularly $130, on sale $60. We do the class live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. And then on Sundays, I teach from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Okay. In this class, we start in 1803 with the Louisiana Purchase. And then we look at the Louisiana Purchase and the Haitian Revolution, because those two events are related. And then we go through history chronologically. We look at the Civil War and what leads to the Civil War taking place. Civil War, Reconstruction, 1865 to 1877, Jim Crow era, World War I, World War II, Civil Rights Movement, Black Power Movement, Great Migration, to understand what happened to us after slavery ended. What were the laws and policies put in place to put us in a predicament we're in today, to understand where we need to go from here. Okay. And African history and culture gives us our foundation. It gives us our values, our interests, and our principles. And this influences our economic empowerment and political empowerment. Okay. So these history classes will change the way that you look at history. We have the link here in the thread of the broadcast. It's also on our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Best value is the bundle pack. So it gets you both classes for $100. That's over a $360 value, because there's bonus content that you'll get from me also in the class. You can watch these classes live or on demand. Once you register for the class, even a year from now, 2 years from now, you'll still have access to the full course. I would say the information is PG-13. You can use this with our youth as well. So I don't do a lot of cursing. It's not overly graphic, etc. Class is very visual. There's tons of articles that we cite also, so you can check that out. If you have any questions, you can also email me at through the website, or at AHNshow, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, our newer email address, AHNshow at theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Okay, so we look to see you in class Saturday and Sunday. And Sundays, I teach from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement of Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Look, I have to get out of here. I have to teach this class now. You can join us in class. You can register and join us in class right now. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace. Hotep, everybody. Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, writer, and historian. And I want to give a special shout out to everybody who has attended the 11th annual Liberated Minds Black Homeschool and Education Expo. I just want to take a few minutes, and we had a great presentation that I did on Saturday. So I teach 2 online history classes, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. On Saturday, the class that I teach, normally 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is called Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And this is normally a 10-week online class. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We can't start studying our history in slavery. Even when we study the transatlantic slave trade, which is important to study, we can't start in 1619 or in the 1440s with the Portuguese, when the Portuguese get involved in the transatlantic slave trade. We have to understand the history chronologically and deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, who entered into the Iberian Peninsula, today known as Spain and Portugal, from North Africa in 711 AD. When we discuss the transatlantic slave trade, we have to first understand that African people are the original people of North, Central, and South America, and have been in the land we call the United States at least 51,700 years. Now, the second class I teach is on Sundays, normally 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Now, these classes are normally $130. They're on sale right now, $60. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded, so you can go back and watch it anytime. So a year from now, 2 years from now, you can go back and watch the entire class. With both of these classes, I would say the content is PG-13, so you can use this with your children as well if you want to. Also, you can advertise with the African History Network. We have 3 new advertising packages. Our current promotion is buy 1 month to get 1 month free. We have 1 million followers at our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. And with our platinum package, we'll take out ads on our Facebook fan page for you as well to help maximize your advertising campaign. And we take your 30-second to 60-second commercial, we put into the rebroadcast of our shows, and also into the audio podcast of our shows as well. We only have 20 advertising slots because we have a finite amount of advertising space. Email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com, ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com, or call us 313-462-0003. All right, right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever, and we'll talk to you.